Hi my bunnies and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to take the channel a little bit back to its roots, just a little bit, and talk about some manga, because I haven't talked about light novels or anime or manga on this channel in a while, and I wanted to get back to it. So if you guys enjoy this one, because I wanted to do this kind of as a series, if you guys like it, which is like the worst manga ever kind of series. I basically went on to Crunchyroll forums and Reddit, and I found what some people considered were the worst mangas they had ever read, and I found them and I want to start reading them and then come back to you guys and tell you what I think about them. So the first one that I found and decided to read was a manga called Gekkoh. And I'm hoping somewhere on the screen there will be a picture of the manga, because I do not own this manga. But I did read it. It's 59 chapters, and I have some things to say about it. So I did go into this manga completely blind. I only knew the really basic synopsis, which is two siblings are in a Yakuza clan and shit happens, is basically what the synopsis was. So I went into it with pretty low expectations, given that someone was saying it was the worst manga they had ever read. And is it? We'll see. So let's start off with what the actual plot of this manga is. We have our main character, whose name is Kiyotaro Hikawa, who is the son of a Yakuza clan boss, and I'm gonna explain how this Yakuza syndicate is set up in a second, because throughout the manga they explain it randomly, so I'm gonna need to tell you guys what it is, like, very quickly, otherwise you'll be very confused, because I was. But so Kiyotaro's dad is part of this Yakuza clan, but Kiyotaro does not like being part of the Yakuza and does not want to take over for his dad. During a fight with another Yakuza group, he is saved by a mysterious girl named Kumiko Shizuki. I had to write down everything that I knew about this manga because there was a lot. Kumiko basically beats up these three guys single-handedly with a wooden katana. So that's that. She basically tells Kiyotaro that she is his half-sister, that they share the same dad, and that she's coming to live with him now. This is really kind of random, and isn't explained very well. Basically, Kiyotaro's dad is in jail and I thought this was a translation error, but they said that he was in jail for like 4 months, so she just like came to stay with him, even though she goes to a completely different school. Whatever, she's here now. And like I said, I thought that was a translation error, but no, he actually was only in jail for 4 months. And he comes back and everything's great. I almost wasn't going to mention this, but I just felt like that was a very weird thing to include. Actually, it does set up for like something farther on that I'm going to talk about at the end of this. I also should mention that there will be spoilers in this, mostly because I don't think anybody's going to actually go and read this manga, except for me. So, spoilers, but if at any point this sounds interesting, you can stop the video and go read it. So anyway, Kumiko goes to live with Kiyotaro and his Yakuza gang, which I should mention, this Yakuza clan of his, the High Clan, because I'm going to talk about the clans in a second, is a very broke clan. They have no money, they're in debt, and also there seems to only be 2 other members apart from Kiyotaro and his dad. So let's talk about this Yakuza syndicate. And I don't know how Yakuza syndicates are normally set up, so maybe this is completely normal. But basically, there are 7 clans that are all under a head president whose name is Hakusen. So this is the Hakusen Association, I think is what they call it, as a general group. They change it a couple times, and I think that's more of a translation error. But yeah, so the president's name is Hakusen. He's the head of the entire thing, and there are 7 clans, and um, each head of the clan, like their last name, that part of their last name is the name of their clan. So Kyotaro's last name is Haikawa, so they are part of the Hai clan. The only other clan to really pay attention to is the Ya clan, whose head is a guy named Yaguchi, and we'll get to him in a second. But that's basically how it's set up. The other clans, apart from those 2, are not important. The president's also important. So, continuing on. So Kumiko's main mission is that she is out for revenge on the man who killed her family. I feel as though I should mention this now, but Kumiko, like I said, is is Kyotaro's half sister. However, every time she mentions that her family is killed, she just says family, and Kyotaro just immediately is like, oh, well, then her mom was killed. That'll be important later. So Kumiko is on the lookout for this killer, and she can't figure out who it is. She has some leads. She also has the sword. It's called Gekkoh, the name of the book. Kumiko's name, I think, is also synonymous with the word Gekkoh. I don't know Japanese, so I'm not sure, but this is brought up like a few times that her name is also Gekkoh, so I guess it's just another way of saying it. But she has this ancient sword called Gekkoh that she wants to kill the man with. So she has some leads. The only thing she really has to go off of is that he has a very realistic centipede tattoo. It's also mentioned that it's apparently like it glows, I guess. This is like a random fact that's just thrown in. It's never brought up again. It's just said once after she meets another man who has a similar tattoo, but it's of a scorpion. But it might be time to talk about that man. So Kyotaro and Kumiko get mixed up with the Yaguchi clan on accident, sort of. The Yaguchi clan is the bad clan. Essentially, they just kind of want to take over the clans altogether. So the head guy, Yaguchi, seems to like he wants to take over the Hai clan, like that's his prerogative. I think if he takes off more clans, then like he'll become the big guy, I guess. He also has a grandson whose name is Natsuhiku, who is a womanizer. It's kind of a weird thing that's brought up, but it should be noted that this dude fucks. And his grandfather knows this. It's a random fact, but, you know, most of the scenes you see him in, he may be, you know, saying some exposition or whatever, but he's definitely fucking. So, Natsuhiku has I'm also going to refer to him as Kuga the rest of the time because they prefer to call him that. So, Kuga has a much better plan than his grandfather. Essentially, he wants to take over the entire, he wants to take over the president, he wants to be the head honcho, but he's starting small. He wants to take over his grandfather's position first and work his way up. This isn't that important because it actually leads up to nothing. So, Kuga has this plan to create this drug and distribute it and basically frame his grandfather for it. And it works. His grandfather actually, this is where spoilers show up. Actually, spoilers have already been happening, so, you know, at this point, there's no point in reading the manga. So, essentially, Kuga's grandfather gets killed, and then naturally, because Kuga is the only living blood relative of Yaguchi, he just naturally becomes head, and he's like, cool, I'm cool with that, and my story arc is done. Now, during this whole thing with the drugs, I should also mention up that this is some sex drugs. This is like some crazy, like, I don't know, pheromones. I don't know. During all of this, Yaguchi decides that he's going to try to frame Kyotaru's dad for this drug distribution, because even though this is a Yakuza syndicate, they're somewhat law-abiding citizens, because the head guy, Hakusen, completely prohibits drug use or drug distribution. So this is a big deal. And Yaguchi's like, I'm gonna frame Hikawa and get him, I don't know, booted from the clan? I don't know. But he does manage to injure Hikawa enough to put him in the hospital and basically fear that he's going to die. So this means that Kyotaru becomes head of the Hai clan. Meaning that any part of his character is completely useless, because he's head of the clan now. He chose to do that. But we'll get to Kyotaru and the uselessness of his character later. So after Kyotaru is promoted to being head of the Hai clan, during this whole thing, she gets asked to go talk to the president's bodyguard, I believe. There's one problem with this art, and I'm not going to really talk about the art in this manga, because it's okay. It's fine. It's not the best art I've ever seen. It's not the worst art I've ever seen. You can get by with it. But there is a problem with non-main male characters have a tendency to look the same. So I'm assuming that she's talking to Hakusen's bodyguard, but I honestly don't know. And she is basically told to go talk to Hakusen herself, and that he will tell her where her dad's killer is. We're actually gearing up to figure out who did it. Where is this revenge story going? Oh boy, I'm so excited. So basically Hakusen is on the verge of dying, which is only just revealed right now. It was revealed that he was blind a little while ago, but it turns out he's also has only a few days to live. And he acts like he just wants to get his hands on the Gekkoh sword because he collects ancient swords. But he also reveals that he killed Kumiko's parents. Except that he didn't. He didn't kill them at all. It's as soon as he reveals that it was me, I did it was me all along, Kumiko remembers her past. Apparently she's had some kind of amnesia this entire time. She's 17 and her parents were killed 8 years ago, when she was 9. Or 9? Yeah? I don't know how to do math. So apparently she's had amnesia about her parents dying, except for seeing the back of the man who killed her parents and fire. Hakusen was basically no, I was trying to steal the sword, and your dad got in the way, so we had to kill your parents. And she's like, no, that didn't happen, because she literally just had a flashback, and turns out her dad was really high up in the police force. So he went deep undercover into the Yakuza, the Hakusen Association, and he was in this deep infiltration for years, to the point where he converted to being a part of the Yakuza for real. Her mom finds out and's like, why would you do this? You betrayed our whole family. And he had to kill her. What, I don't know what you want me to say. He had to kill her. She had to die. And apparently Kumiko sees this and then blacked out. And then she was taken to a convent? There was a nun taking care of her, so I'm assuming it was a convent or a school of some kind. I think it may have been the school that she was going to school in. And everyone around her just kept this news from her. So Hikawa knew this, Hakusen knew this, they knew all of this, but didn't tell her anything. They're like, yeah, no, someone killed your parents, and she went on a bloodthirsty revenge rampage. everything's fine. Haikawa decides to take her in and is just like, I'm your dad now. And that's why that's why they're sibling. It's also like not surprising at all that Kumiko is not related to Kiyotaro. We'll talk about that in a second. And so basically it just ends with Kumiko going, what do I do now? I've been full of this revengeful hate for so long. How do I not be like a revengeful person? And Kyotaro's like, just don't. Just be a normal person. It's all good. You're fine. And it ends. And that's it. Haikawa lives. He was in the hospital. Everyone feared for his death. He's fine now. He's good. The end. Yay. So it's a little disappointing. I won't lie. I went through this manga, and even up to like halfway through, I was like, this isn't the worst manga ever. Like, this is fine. Like, it's not good, but it's not bad. Whatever. I can kind of see why people might say that this is the worst manga ever now, though. Now that I finished it. Now that I got to the last chapter. Because it's not good. So, like, let's talk about some of these characters. And we're going to start with Kiyotaro, who is the most useless character. I shouldn't say that. There's other characters who I didn't even mention who are also completely useless. But Kyotaro's the main character, so he should be useful, right? But he's kind of in that role of like how harem protagonists are, where it's like, yeah, they're the main character, but they're probably the most useless character in the entire harem. And this manga does try to do like an almost harem. Like, it starts to do it. It's like a halfway harem. But he's very useless. He is. You know, he starts out by being like, I hate the Yakuza. And then literally from that moment on, he only does things to help his clan and whatnot. And he does it under the guise of like, well, it's my dad's clan. I gotta take care of it. While his dad's in jail and while he's in the hospital, he both takes like leadership roles. And he's like kind of fine with it. He doesn't, like, he just kind of complains a little bit, but I feel like if he really hated these, so he's 17 and he could very easily probably just move out and be like, because they barely go to school in this manga. So like, if he didn't want to be part of the Yakuza, he probably didn't have to, but he did. So he doesn't need to complain about it all the time. Apart from that, he's like very rarely heroic. There's a lot of action scenes in this manga, and he's just not very useful during them. He shows up heroically a couple times and it's like, haha, I'm here to save the day. It literally doesn't go anywhere, so you can't really root for him that much, and he's like generally just an idiot. Like, he kind of goes through the manga just kind of being oblivious. Like, he doesn't know what's going on half the time. He's always like, I don't know. Like, yeah, Kiyotaro, I don't know what's going on either. This manga's poorly written. However, in that halfway harem sense, he is like well loved by a lot of girls. So Kumiko is immediately attracted to him. It's amazing, really, because Kumiko is probably like the most like sexy character in the manga. She's definitely like, she's on every cover. If there's art of any girl, it's Kumiko. She's always halfway dressed. She's supposed to be sexy, and she is completely just enamored with Kiyotaro. Which, if you think, wow, Carly, that's kind of weird, because like, aren't they supposed to be half siblings? You literally don't learn that they're not siblings until like the last chapter, even though it's hinted at the entire time. Yeah, it's a little weird. So she's completely enamored with him, even though this guy has no charisma whatsoever. But also there's two other characters that I didn't even talk about because they're not important to the plot at all. A girl named Moe, who is Hakusen's daughter, completely immediately, she sees him and she's like, that's the boy I want to marry. That guy right there. She goes and kisses him and she's like, she says this twice, 2 separate times. She's like, you're a really good kisser. Even though this boy is a virgin and has never kissed anyone. Also, I just remembered there's another completely random character who like I thought was going to be part of like this love triangle disappears halfway through the manga. Her name is Nanami, and she's like his school crush. But after they kind of give up on him going to school in the manga, she disappears. She's just gone. So she was useless too. There's another girl named Miho who is she's the sister of the girl that Kuga is dating. They're just fuck buddies essentially. And her whole backstory is just that she wants to find her sister, and it's like a random thing for like 5 chapters and like whatever. But she treats Kyotaru as like a big brother immediately. So I can't say that she'd be part of the harem, but she's not that much younger than them, so. Apart from that, there is constantly like these Yakuza women who are like under like Kuga's management or whatever, who are constantly just trying to like get him to lose his virginity. It's very weird. He's kind of like the guy that everyone wants to just have sex with, but this guy has no charisma or anything. He's not that good looking, and he's an idiot. To be honest, I feel like the manga should have just been about Kumiko, but there's other ways that it could have improved too. But anywho, like I said, he's an idiot, and I didn't mention the one thing that made me just go, okay, he's just stupid. So when I thought the main part that we were supposed to go, oh, Kumiko isn't his sister, even though it's been hinted at this entire time, it's like, oh, well, she keeps talking about her father being killed, but if her father is Hikawa, then he's still alive. At one point, like I said, Hikawa ends up in the hospital, and Kyotaru goes there, and the people are like, we don't have enough like blood for him, like we need blood transfusions. And they're like, anyone have type O blood here? And Kyotaru's like, yeah, I do, I'm his son, I have type O blood, I can help. And Kumiko goes, my blood's AB. And he literally, I thought from like one panel that he was like, what? But apparently, no. He didn't think this was strange at all until literally, I think a chapter later, Miho mentions it. She's like, oh, Kumiko isn't your sister, right? Like, you guys don't have the same blood type or even anything similar. There's no way. I just learned this in school. Miho's like 10, like 12 maybe. Kyotaru like didn't even think about this, so he's just an idiot. And like when that part came up, I was like, oh, well, clearly they don't have the same blood types. They're not siblings, obviously. But I thought that was the aha moment, and it wasn't. So I don't know. There was still like 5 more chapters after that, so maybe more. Anywho, let's talk about Kumiko, because she's kind of like, she's really the main character here, and I have some beef with her. Said she was hinted at not being his sister very early on, but this girl is like constantly trying to get it on with people, and there's nothing wrong with that. This manga, if anything, is a fan service manga, and there is nothing wrong with that, although it is weird because, you know, we are meant to believe that they are brother and sister, but she just wants to have sex with Kyotaru. That's all she wants to do. She also acts creepy around their, like, dad, too, because, like, she wants to, like, take baths with him and stuff, and it's just, like, it's a weird situation if you still believe that they are brother and sister during this time. But in the meantime, they do kind of make her overly mysterious, and that's kind of weird. It's like, I don't think they meant to. I almost feel like this manga was supposed to go on longer, but all of a sudden it was like, shoot, we gotta put in the last chapter, and that's why all of these loose ends tie up so quickly in the last few chapters, because I almost feel like it was supposed to go on longer. They make her so, like, mysterious, and I don't think that was meant to happen. They just didn't know how to, like, reveal her character properly. So she has this dark side that she turns into whenever she's in danger. I actually couldn't figure this out for the longest time as to like what triggered her turning dark. Basically she goes into a trance and she starts beating people up. She's not herself. She doesn't remember who she, like, what she does during this time. Because when it happens, it's so sporadic. The first time it happens, she's having a nightmare and Kyotaru like comes and comforts her. And that's the first time it happens. And after that, it's always been like when she's assaulted or like when she's in danger. And this dark side is never truly explained to begin with. Apart from just like she, I don't know, disassociates because of like her past trauma, but it's not explained. That's just what I'm inserting into what I think it is. So that's what I think happens. She just disassociates and becomes dark Kumiko. And it's not even really resolved, to be honest, so I guess it doesn't really matter. So she really should have been the main character and like had her whole plot and her whole thing explained better, because instead we get, obviously we have Kyotaru as the main character, and we have this side plot with Moe and her bodyguard, which takes up a few chapters and is completely pointless. In the end, I thought this was going to be something important. I would write it down as like, oh, maybe this is an important plot point. Nope, doesn't matter. I could have left her out of this entire review and you would have never known that she had any importance. Same with Miho. She's, apart from her being an exposition fairy and talking about how Kumiko isn't Kyotaru's sister because they don't have the same blood type, she's completely useless. Literally anyone could have done that. Kyotaru could have been smart and figured that one out. Apart from that, Miho is completely useless. Her and her sister plot is like resolved even sooner than Moe's is. In like maybe a chapter or chapter and a half, maybe 2 chapters. It's like done. She has really no importance, and she goes to live with her sister in the end, so it's like useless. In that case, like if they had left that stuff out and made Kumiko her like just the main focus, maybe we would have gotten a better revenge story, because in the end, it's not a very good revenge story. That being said, her backstory also comes out completely just like out of the blue. It literally happens in like the last 2 chapters, and like I said, it's just she just goes into a flashback, and you know, it's like a complete just random thing. It was the story was revving up with like a good twist, because this whole time I thought, oh, maybe it's Kuga. Maybe Kuga, because the centipede tattoo is on the man's back and Kuga's scorpion is on his chest. So I'm like, oh, like maybe it's Kuga because he didn't show his back. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's Yaguchi. Like, it could be him. We haven't seen his tattoo. Even though we never saw these tattoos, though, they actually did explain in one chapter that they had a list of every one of the Yakuza bosses, like, tattoos. And that's why they were like, oh, it's none of these guys, because they're on the list. Either way, I was still like, well, maybe it's him. Who knows? And even when it was revealed, like, oh, it was Hakusen, I was like, oh, well, that's a good twist. Like, no one expected him because he's been so nice this entire time. He's like a good guy. He's friends with Haikawa, you know, and everything. No, literally, like, that would have been a good twist. Nah, it was just her dad. That was it. And that really actually like makes the whole revenge plot completely useless, because it's literally like I read this part and I finished the manga and Catman came upstairs and I was like, I feel like I was just revenge blueballed. I'm not even someone who's into revenge stories, but I've watched Kill Bill. Like, that's a very good revenge story. This isn't Kill Bill, not in any sense of anything. You thought you were gonna get a good like revenge fulfillment, and there wasn't anything. It was literally nothing, and that's it. So the whole thing was pointless, and even it was resolved quickly because it was just Kyotaru going, "Just be a normal girl, you'll be fine," and she does. It literally does. So I don't know, man. In the end, I would say, like, I don't want to say this is the worst manga ever, because it's not, but it's not a great manga either. I don't even know who to recommend this to be honest, because, like, I can't recommend it to people who like revenge, like huge Kill Bill fans. You know, I can't recommend it to them because it's not a good revenge story. It started out as a good revenge story. It has mystery and stuff, but it doesn't resolve. So you don't even get the revenge part. It's revenge blue balls. But I also don't know who else to even really recommend it to. This is a huge fan service manga. It's kind of pointless. At first, I would tell Catman, I was like, maybe like this was meant to be a hentai. And then the publisher was like, no, no, it needs to have a plot. But now I don't think so. Because while it has a lot of fan service and a lot of like sex scenes, they don't do anything for you. It's not like a hentai where it sets it up, it's not provocative, it's not arousing. It's just there. It's just like, oh look, boobs. Oh look, two people having sex over there. Like you just see it and it means nothing. So like, yeah, it's fan servicey because you get to see that stuff, but it doesn't really mean anything, so I wouldn't call it a hentai. I feel like the only people that I could recommend this to are people who are into like revenge porn, like who are into like it's such a small niche though. Like who's really into that? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, but this isn't even great revenge porn, so I don't know. I don't know who to recommend it to. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody except that I don't know, it's not a very good manga. I don't know, man. But that's it. If you guys liked this review, or if you want to leave some recommendations of manga that you've read that you absolutely hated, you can leave them in the comments below. If there's things you'd like to change about, you know, my reviews, you can also tell me that. I know this is a much longer video than normal, but I don't really mind. I had a lot of fun like reading it and then writing down and analyzing it a little bit, so I hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, leave a like, maybe, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. What am I doing with my hands? I don't know. But I hope you guys have a really wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!